Well, hello to everybody. Here it's Teresa Sanderson. As always, I'm excited to connect with you on another episode of the Dare to Do Nursing Differently podcast. And today we're continuing our interview series of our Nurses Feed Their Young, nifty expert team. And I'm super excited to bring you today our special guest, Beth Tansey Peller, who is a representative of Well Coaches and also has her own coaching practice, Be Well with Beth. Beth, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me. And it's always exciting to meet with you, Teresa. You have so much going on.
Oh gosh, and you too, and you too. So, for those of you who are not familiar, maybe with the Nurses Feed Their Young collaboration with Well Coaches, just know that this is more than a year in the making here. That we've been partnering and kind of working together on some strategic objectives to empower and bring about more nurse coaches getting
Mm.
certified through the Well Coaches curriculum, which is so sound. It's one of the largest coaching organizations in the world. It's been around for 25 years, is it, Beth?
Almost
Almost
25
25 years.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's an incredible thing. So Beth actually is coming to us today, and she has a foot in two worlds. She is a Well Coaches representative within our community, and also she has her own coaching practice as a nurse coach. So Beth, I want to welcome you today and thank you again for being here. I want to give you an opportunity. Usually our audience is interested in hearing a little bit more about how did you get started in nursing? What kind of work have you done? And maybe how did you transition from that to the coaching space?
Okay. Well, I was always interested in wellness as a child. And I have to say, my mother was probably the first wellness coach I had any experience with because she always had cut up vegetables in the refrigerator. She made, salad dressing with yogurt years ago. I'm talking about the
Wow.
60s and 70s. And I was interested in, I went to college for psychology. And I had a series of mishaps, things that kept me from making as much progress as I wanted. And at one point, I decided I need to get a job. And I decided
Uh-huh.
to go to nursing school. My mother had started nursing school but didn't finish. And I thought it would be a great way for me to put together my psychology interest and, my interest in health and well-being. And that way, I could contribute to the world as a nurse. So I did that. I first worked in pediatrics and then pediatric oncology. I was at Memorial Sloan-Kettering Cancer Center. I was on the pediatric
Wow.
chemotherapy IV team, and that was just a phenomenal place to work. And it was also rich with the psychological needs that patients and their families had, of
I
course.
bet.
Yeah, so I did that for several years. Then I got kind of off track a little bit, got into working in pharmaceuticals.
Uh-huh.
Somebody convinced me that nurses are well loved in pharma. So I was a clinical research associate.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I had my daughter and I was home. I was looking for work and I found 4-hour shifts at a local hospital. And I thought I'd do something fun like labor
Wow.
and delivery, but they're like, oh no, with your background in oncology, we're going to have you do that. So I did that
Okay.
for a bit. And then I decided I wanted to do some writing. I did freelance writing for Hoffman LaRoche and other companies.
Wow.
And later on, I actually worked on the first edition, home edition of the Merck Manual. So my nursing background was always involved in everything I did.
Yeah.
And from there, I ended up in medical advertising. And right around 2004, I found Well Coaches online. It's very, that's when coaching was starting to have a, rise in press
Mhm.
and life coaching and so on. And I decided I wanted to do it. And I actually wrote a proposal where I was working and received an award, and they paid for me to continue with the training and so on through
Oh my
certification.
gosh.
And I got to meet Margaret Moore, the CEO. And I
Incredible.
attended the Art and Science of Health Promotion Conference, and we got to know each other rather well. So I decided in 2007 or 8, I was going to resign from, working as a writer and working in
Okay.
medical advertising and started Be Well with Beth at that time. It was a little too soon, and I didn't have all the kinds of tools that you have developed, Teresa. But at that time, Margaret asked me to be a practical examiner for students who going through the training program. And then
Wow.
I ended up, I burned out. I went back to medical advertising. I had to pay the bills. So I ended
Yeah,
up
yeah.
having fibromyalgia diagnosed. I was on disability for 2 months. And
Yeah.
at that time, I had already completed the advanced training that Well Coaches has, our professional coach training,
Uh-huh.
mindfulness and just digging deeper into things, really rich skills. And then I was asked to be a mentor coach. So
Oh.
I, after the disability, I wanted to use my coaching. That was my
Mhm.
need. And I was able to find a job as a nurse coaching through Premise Health, a corporate wellness company, and I combined the two. But I have to say, I really loved, it was like a primary care situation, but I loved the coaching I was able to do. And when
Wow.
you learn coaching skills, whether you're working as a coach or as a nurse, it will change the conversations you have and really
Right.
dig deeper with your patients or clients. So I
Mhm.
loved that, but the commute was crazy, 3.5 hours a day.
Oh,
I
shoot. Yeah.
left
Oh, my.
that after about 4 years. I had a brief stint setting up an integrative center for integrative medicine, and then they decided to have the business manager take care of that. And then I found that a local physician whose practical skills assessment I did way back in 2008 was looking for a nurse. And I worked for him for several years until I had neck surgery and I was no longer able to do it was medical aesthetics. We had a medical aesthetics practice.
Okay,
So I've
gotcha.
gone from oncology to employee health to medical aesthetics, broad
Yeah.
range. Um, but then I was asked by Well Coaches to be what, evolved into student enrollment coach. So I have more than one role with them. And I also build my coaching practice on the side, coaching people who really work hard. And a lot of those I've worked with nurse practitioners, nurse managers,
Mhm.
physicians, and others who, are not necessarily in healthcare, but really don't have enough left for themselves. And I like to create a safe place where they can feel, be vulnerable, yet feel safe and share things they might not have ever shared before about what they really want in their life, what's missing. And then we
Yeah.
work on how to make that fit into the life they have.
Mhm. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I love your diverse background.
Mm,
And what I see throughout that diverse background is a very entrepreneurial spirit. I
mm.
see this spirit that's just saying, this is good, but what about that? And I might try that. And maybe, because medical writing was not really a well-known thing when you were doing it, and working
Mhm.
on the Merck manual. I mean, wow, congratulations on that. You're a trailblazer. That's all it says. So, and you've just continued to navigate your career and be able to use all of your skills in a wonderfully holistic way. And that's what I really love. And that's what makes you, I think, so suitable for, the work you're doing with Well Coaches. Certainly the work you're doing in your own coaching practice is that, you know, if you are that living, breathing example of someone who's able to use not only a portion of your skills, but all of your gifts and talents to serve others, I mean, that's the sweet spot, isn't it? That's what we're all striving for, I
It
think.
is. And, I have to say that nurses have so many skills and the ability to be adaptable and flexible. And really, that's what happens if you're working in whatever situation as a nurse. You need to be able to, meet the need, meet the demand that's right out there. And I have to tell you, when I left medical advertising, I made a lot of money and I had to figure
Oh,
out how to do without. And I, looked at my budget and things like that, but I would be on the train commuting to my nurse well coach position, and I would do some freelance writing. And I would listen to a recorded session of a medical meeting, and then
mhm.
I would take notes on my iPad, and then I would, refine it and buff it up and send it to the company that was, hiring me to do these little freelance jobs because I
Yeah,
had to hustle. I had to make
yeah,
and over time, that can be difficult.
yes.
When you're making a change, sometimes you need to make some sacrifices. And
Mhm.
I was able to do that. And right now I'm really in the sweet spot because I'm able to do the things I really enjoy.
I love that. I love hearing all of that. And, so in your practice, Be Well with Beth, tell us a little bit about that. I mean, who's the type of client that you typically serve and that you feel really called to serve?
Yeah, I think I developed that, especially I was in the healthcare center at Morgan Stanley, and
Okay.
first in Jersey City at a single RN unit, and then I
Mhm.
moved into Times Square.
Wow.
Are hard driving executives. You can imagine finance, okay? Long hours, long commutes, a lot of stress. And yet, some of them really wanted to be healthier. Some of them really wanted to manage anxiety or stress or whatever was going on with all the
Mhm.
mental demands they had. And I just found that I had a real ability to help them find ways to take care of themselves. And not just diet and exercise, but really life satisfaction, more meaningful relationships, finding things that give them joy
Right.
outside of work. And I still do that with the clients I have right now. I'm working with an HR consultant who really wanted to work on diet. But what we found is she first had to work her way through the grief she had for her mother who had passed
Oh my
and
gosh.
create ways to enjoy those days that are we all know this as nurses, the anniversary of someone's death, the anniversary of when they had the major stroke or ended up in the hospital and all of that. And then the holidays.
Yeah.
She has told me that she feels she has greater capacity to just
Hmm.
manage everything in her life. And then I just met with a physician who is very successful at work, and yet she feels a need to have better boundaries personally
Hmm. Yep.
and to connect more deeply with friends and family. And these are
Wow.
the kinds of things that are ultimately so satisfying to me as a coach. I
Hmm.
also mentor well coaches students
Oh,
through level
nice.
3. That's something I really enjoy. And I get to share my coaching expertise while I help them build their skills to be able to pass their practical skills assessments. And some of those students come to me afterwards for help in building their coaching practice, not so much the business parts of it, but what do I do when a client says this? How can I
Yeah.
respond? So I help them with that. And it's really fun for me to do. And I really enjoy that so much. So yeah, I mean, these are all the things that I'm able to do in my work life with well coaches and then in what I do personally as a coach.
I just love hearing that story. So you're working with, and I think one of the things that I want the nurses who are listening to hear who maybe aspire to be health and well-being coaches and work in that space is that not only can you serve nurses, but if it's on your heart, I mean, there are opportunities in corporate wellness that you have been a part of, Beth. And I think that just opens the playing field because like so many things in nursing, whatever your passion is, you can
Yes.
find it. You can
Well,
find it in
yeah.
coaching space.
Absolutely. And, well coaches is highly regarded in corporate wellness, in insurance, in health systems. In fact, we have groups of those who send their employees through our training. So,
Wow.
I feel so confident talking about well coaches because you come out with evidence-based skills. We find that students who go through our training tell us they feel personally transformed.
Yeah.
So these skills can be used in your own personal life. They can be used in your work as a nurse, on the floor, in the ER, wherever you're working, because it changes the way you interact with people, changes the conversations you have while still using your nursing skills.
Oh, yes. So, so valuable. So, for everybody who's listening today, I just really want to, first of all, I want to thank you, Beth, for stepping up as a Nurses Feed Their Young expert to be willing to serve and support nurses within the nifty online peer support community. This is just so important. And I think your presence there is going to be so valued by so many. So, thank you for stepping up and serving as one of
Oh,
our experts.
absolutely. I'm so looking forward to this community growing and being a part of it and really networking with the other experts and people who become members.
I love that. I love that. So before we finish up, I want to share a special announcement with everybody who's listening or watching, and that is that I am enrolling in the Well Coaches certification program. I'm going to be starting here in a couple of months. And so if anybody wants to join me for that journey, if you want to learn together, this is an opportunity, right? That we could do something fun, we can do something different. I'm all about daring to do nursing differently. So, and I'm big on learning. So for me, learning the skills that Well Coaches is going to teach me is not only going to help me support nurses in a better way, it's also going to help me be a better business and marketing coach.
Mm.
I can easily apply what I'm going to be learning here to, as you said, every other conversation that I'm going to have. So I'm really excited to get started because I know it's going to impact my life and the life of my clients in a lot of different ways. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, we are excited we can't wait to have you in class. And, I don't know if you can put up a caption, or I'm sure my email for Well Coaches will be visible to people.
Absolutely.
Beth Tansey Peller at wellcoaches.com. People can reach out to me so I can answer any questions. And
Yes.
I think of it like informed consent. I give you the information. You decide if it's right for you.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And so, Beth, before we leave, yes, we're going to be poaching or posting that Well Coaches email, your email, and perhaps a link for people to check out the Well Coaches programs and services. But for you personally, how can members of our community and anyone else who's interested in reaching out to you, how can they connect with you for Be Well with Beth? How can they find you?
It's very easy because my email for my website is bewellwithbeth@gmail.com. And it's just like it sounds, BEWELLWITHBETH
Love it. Love it. Well, again, Beth, I want to thank you for stepping up and serving as one of our nifty experts and also for meeting with me today. I'm so excited that our communities had this opportunity to get to know you. And I just want to thank you again for being here today.
Well, I am honored, Teresa, and I want to thank you for allowing me to do this.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, thank you again. And for everybody watching and listening, thank you for joining us today. This concludes this episode of Dare to Do Nursing Differently, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Okay. Bye, Teresa. Bye, everybody.